Jeff Hardy knocked out by AEW Botch, plus Sting's retirement match has been confirmed, and an ex-AEW talent is returning to AEW. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. Best wishes this morning to Jeff Hardy. Video footage has emerged from the Rampage taping that took place after Dynamite last night, and quite a scary moment for Jeff.
Yeah, so he was up against Sammy Guevara in a no DQ match, and now footage has emerged from that match which shows Sammy Guevara landing a shooting star press. However, Jeff Hardy, he puts his knees up, but then Guevara's own knee crashes straight into Hardy's face and reportedly it knocked him out. It looked very, very gnarly. The match ended very shortly after to allow Jeff to get some medical attention. Thankfully, the ref looked like he was straight on there from the footage that we've seen. He was straight over to check to see whether Jeff was all right or not. And Jeff was reportedly bleeding from the mouth and appeared disoriented when he attempted to stand up as well. Bless him.
Yeah, there's a few pictures of other medical team around Jeff at this point. It's one of those things in terms of how that move landed. It was a misplacement of Sammy Guevara's knee that crashed into Jeff Hardy's face. It's one of those things in wrestling, as we learned with Shotzi yesterday with that DDT on the apron, which may have done some serious damage to her knee. It can sometimes be a move that you've done 100 times over, and just on that one night out of 100 where something goes awry. We send our best wishes to Jeff Hardy. We don't know the full nature at time of recording of his injury, but it looks like he may miss some time for this one.
Yeah, and again, it's a shame. It's a shame when anything like this happens to anybody, but it felt like Jeff was getting back into the motion of things again, and I was excited to see what maybe was going to happen pushing forward with storylines and stuff. But yes, nothing but the best for our Jeffrey Hardy.
We'll keep you posted at cultaholic.com. Last night on Dynamite as well, in case there was any doubt, Sting's final match has been confirmed. He will team with Darby Allin to face the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Sting and Darby Allin going into that match as champions. They won the belts last week, and they got beaten up by young Matthew and Nicholas.
Yeah, they did. Oh my God, the fact that they're wearing the suits that still have the blood on them, I think that's a really nice touch. The fact that they almost EVP triggered poor Tony Schiavone this week. Oh my God, I was ready to
leave
kick
Tony
off.
alone. He is an angel.
He is. There was lots of cool things within that little segment. Actually, you know, there was even Cody chants when Darby came out. He made like an impassioned promo about the state of AEW at the moment, and what was the mission statement at the beginning, and it was kind of like, you know, he was saying bad words and things to the EVPs at the moment, but then that led to a good old Cody chant, because he was like, well, there was one of them that was still very good and did the good things. Do you know what? Whereas maybe I wasn't as excited for this to begin with, I am coming around to this now.
I think both. I remember especially when you and I sat here and it looked as if we were heading towards Darby and Sting versus the Bucks. I was very of the mind of like, I don't want this. No, thank you. You know, I don't worry. I keep my own receipts. I was very much the case, just in case I want to take a shirt back. Very much of the case that I didn't want this.
Yeah.
I think in a couple of promos, they've brought me round to it. And the little extra touch is it's going to be a tornado tag team match, which means no tags. Everyone's in all at once. Chaotic. I still think Sting is taking the pin.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they will end up losing, especially if it's a retirement match. You can always have the winner win and then, you know, relinquish the titles afterwards. But I feel like, I think the titles are probably going to switch at Revolution, and probably Sting taking the pin as well.
I can see Sting arguing to be the one that takes the pin.
I think that's something that he would like to do. He seems like quite a selfless guy, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, so that would be something he would push to do. So that's set for Revolution. Another big match set for Revolution last night as well.
Yeah, Will Ospreay's first match as an AEW talent will take place at Revolution next month. Now, last night it was confirmed that his opponent will be none other than his Don Callis family member, Konosuke Takeshita. Callis made the call in order to keep it in the family, with Takeshita saying that they couldn't find the talent to face Takeshita, so wanted to book a match to get the world talking, and I think this is definitely a way to do it.
Yeah, because we know he's a bad guy, because he says we couldn't find anybody to wrestle Takeshita. So what, on that roster, couldn't find any wrestlers?
No.
Are we sure? We sure about that? I just can't see any wrestlers. It's obviously a heel bit of shtick, and I like it.
Yes,
I think it sets up either Takeshita or Will Ospreay.
I think personally, I think Ospreay is going to be the one that has the face turn in this whole scenario. Yeah, I think so. I think so for a little bit.
They'll be built all in.
Yes, that's where I think we might be going with it.
Ospreay Joe at All In.
I would love that so much.
Ooh,
I would love that very much. Or hey, if maybe Joe drops the title against either Swerve or Hangman, and I'm hoping leaning more towards the Swerve side of things. Swerve and Ospreay at All In.
Ospreay Swerve main event for All In.
Mental as well, wouldn't it?
Ooh.
That would be nice too.
That would be a fun old time. Also confirmed for Revolution, which is next month, the AEW International title on the line. Orange Cassidy defending against Roderick Strong.
Yes, we have the AEW Continental Crown. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson.
The AEW Women's title on the line. They've been sniffing each other. They'll fight each other. Toni Storm faces Deonna Purrazzo.
And as mentioned before, we have the AEW World Championship. Samoa Joe defends against Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland.
Looking forward to that one.
It's a good card so far, right?
It
looks really, really strong.
Buzzing for it. Now, a final bit of news regarding AEW. We said farewell to QT Marshall on the AEW side back in November. He cited changes to the company and a desire to go all in on his own future is what led him to step away. We saw him do a couple of dates in Mexico, and we saw him along with Dustin Rhodes' daughter, Teal Rhodes. We saw him relaunch Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, which had their first show back last weekend. In a surprising twist, QT Marshall is back in AEW. He has returned to his previous executive role, and it's been confirmed by Fightful and Wrestling Observer. He will no longer be an in-ring talent for AEW, but will continue in his previous role as executive. The deal also decrees that QT Marshall can wrestle anywhere else he likes except WWE.
Oh well, that's a nice little bit to have there in the role, isn't it? As well. I mean, I think me and Fraser, when this happened, was talking about that maybe he could, go to Mexico and do stuff, because I've seen some of his Mexico stuff and it's bloody good.
He is very good at the wrestling as QT Marshall. I don't know if he's ever told you before.
It's crazy. Why is there not more of that on AEW TV? And for some reason, just something didn't line up there. And we were talking about maybe he could be like a trainer or something as well, because he's had so much in-ring experience, and I think he's again like a wealth of knowledge that a lot of people, a lot of talent on there, especially because there's a lot of young talent in AEW that could definitely pull from him, and he could share some wisdom and whatnot too. I think this is a perfect way. I think this is a perfect role for him. Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong in accepting that what you may think is the wrong way to do it is actually the right way to do it. Douglas Adams has a great quote in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is, "I'd rather be happy than right." Yes. QT Marshall stepping away, then realizing an executive role in AEW is something that he'd really like to do under his own terms, so he's gone back and done that. And I think there's something in accepting when you're wrong about something. So at Real Jeff Jarrett, you should call your team total non-stop arseholes. Now, I know that you spoke about it on My World, and to call me what I believe is a compliment in America, a blithering idiot.
Yeah.
Appreciate, mate. But I think this is the way to go. I did a poll online. The poll came back 100% total non-stop arseholes as the name for your faction in AEW. So if you would do me the honor of just reiterating this to Jeff Jarrett today, at Real Jeff Jarrett, come on, Jeffrey lad, call your team total non-stop arseholes. I think that gets the point over nice and succinctly.
I think so. I think maybe, some of the prior ones that you've sort of been pushing.
I've been quite vague.
You have been quite vague. This, however, seems very definitive in its direction and its goal.
At Real Jeff Jarrett, come on, Jeffrey, call your team total non-stop arseholes. Appreciate you. Hey, we'll have more wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Keys.
Love you, bye.
Come on, Jeff.